Good morning, welcome. Have some props standing by. I have a chair. I'm in the studio today because we're working on figuring out how we can reopen at some point in the net. We're hoping in the next couple of weeks, figuring out capacity and things like that. So I do have a yoga chair, but you can use any chair from your dining room, your office, anything will work. I have a couple blocks here. You can use books. I have one of those tall pots. You can use one of those tall pots. They're very stable and sturdy. So anything that might give you a lift if we need that. I don't know exactly what we'll do today. Where we'll go with the props, but we'll see. And some sort of strap or rope or belt, scarf, anything like that will work as well. So have a seat up on your lift. I'm still using my higher lift than normal that I've been using since the pandemic started to give myself a greater sense of ease without struggling to maintain this. So if you are not feeling ease, I recommend you raise your lift. And it might not give you complete ease, but it might give you just a teeny bit more. And these days, any amount is to be celebrated. And allow yourself to be here. The mind will continue to wander to the past, to the future. When it is present, it will often make comparisons. I don't like this. I wish this could be better. Can you allow yourself to be here and now, not the past, not the future, the here and now? And that here part means here with acceptance. The good, the bad, the in-betweens. And it doesn't mean that we don't work to change things. We do change things within ourselves. Right? There's that line that we often say, it's been floating around who knows how long. You're perfect just the way you are, and you can be better. So certainly we can look for changes within ourselves and changes within the greater whole that we are a part of. But before we move to seek that change, we have to see where we are. We have to accept the reality that is with us right now in this moment. The pleasant, the unpleasant, all that's in between. We have to study it carefully without trying to change it first. Because if we just move to changes, the changes we make will often not last or stick or may not be the right ones. But if you can be here long enough to study the imperfections within the perfect, then when you take actions within an asana, within a pose, or out in the world, they are more likely to have the effects that you are seeking. Asana prepares us to show up in the world. It's not a retreat from the world. It's perhaps a momentary retreat so that we can study and observe. And then it demands that we take that learning at the micro actions that we do which change everything. And most of you who are here with me live anyway, you've experienced this. It's the teeniest of changes, the teeniest of actions changes everything. All of a sudden, a pose is understood. This practice demands that we take that knowledge that we learn from our practice, the understanding that we learn from our practice, and show up in the world. So examine yourself, the physical body, the emotional body, the pleasant, the unpleasant, everything in between. And then you can begin, as you scan through the body, to make those micro changes that we often do. You're not limited by what I say. At some point, this has to turn into your practice, not mine. But we can use this time for teaching and learning. So if these things are helpful for you, take them with you. And if I'm not saying something that you feel is necessary today, then please include that. And find that even balance on your sit bones. What do you need to adjust to be there? What do you need to adjust to maintain that? Is it possible today? Maybe today that's not quite possible. What actions can you take to bring you closer? Compact those outer hips. There's a drawing from the outer knees to the outer hips, the outer quadricep muscle. Compact the hips together. And as we spoke about in the last class, sometimes we need to work unevenly to find a sense of evenness. As we learn as beginners, as we learn our yoga practice, the instructions also work evenly on both sides as we're learning the body. But eventually we go to the point where we actually have to work unevenly on both sides to gain a sense of evenness, alignment, symmetry. How do you need to work in those legs, those hips? Perhaps unevenly to create a sense of evenness. And lengthen from the inner thigh to the inner knee. Lengthen from the inner thigh to the lower abdomen. The whole inner groin lengthening. Don't lose the compaction of the hips. The flesh of the inner thigh is descending from the front of the leg to the back of the leg. And even as the outer hips compact towards each other, that area at the top of the groins moves away from each other. And observe the effects of these actions now. What changed? In the legs, but perhaps something changed elsewhere, perhaps in the abdomen, perhaps in the breath. As you lengthen from the hips to the armpits, ensure that the front bottom ribs move back. And I also want you to take the back bottom ribs forward. And see if you can create a space between the top of the buttocks and the back bottom ribs. So the top of the buttocks moves down, the back bottom ribs moves in and up. Don't push the front ribs forward in order to do that. Don't lean the shoulders back in order to do that. Can you focus your awareness? The top of the buttocks moving down and the back bottom ribs moving slightly in, but then up to create more space between those bottom ribs and the top of the buttocks. Allow the shoulders to release down, let the elbows become heavy, and bring your palms together at the chest. The shoulder bones move away from each other, away from the sides of the neck. As the back bottom ribs move in and up, that allows the chest to rise. So it's not that you're just forcing the chest up or lifting the chest up. Right? Sometimes we'll talk about, don't do this now. Sometimes we mention, and it's not a bad instruction, imagine there's a string on your chest and lift from there. But what I'm asking for now is something slightly different. From the back bottom ribs, as you take the back bottom ribs in and up, can you lift the chest from that area, as if the ribs, those back bottom ribs, are lifting the chest? And notice the effects of that. And of course, if you want to do it both ways, you know, lift the chest with that string and compare, you know, it's good to compare, it's good to make comparisons. But today, I want you to get the understanding of the front bottom ribs moving back as the back bottom ribs move forward and up. And the back bottom ribs are lifting the chest. When I do that, I notice a releasing in the sides of my neck. That's me. What do you notice? Soften your facial features completely. Let's chant the syllable Om 3 times. Exhaling completely. Deep inhalation. Lifting your sternum towards the ceiling, lower your chin towards your heart. Release your hands onto your thighs with your palms up. With your eyes closed, raise your head. From the back of your head, gently let your eyelids open. All right, let's come into child's pose going forward. You want to lift under your head. So for some of you, that will mean you need a blanket or a block. So take your feet together, knees apart. And, you know, by the way, for those of you that don't need a lift under your head, I recommend once in a while using it. So if you have a lift, just take it. I can do this without a lift, but I'm going to take this lift. I have this blanket here. I'll fold it. Knees together. I'm sorry. Feet together, knees apart. Extend the arms forward and rest the skull. When you have a lift, you can actually get more extension over the back of your head and even the top of the back. And if you really want the floor, I mean, that's fine. But what you don't want is your head like dropping onto the floor. It's not beneficial. You want to find that lengthening of the back of the neck. So lengthen through the side ribs and the armpits. There's still the releasing of the inner groins, the inner thighs, the lengthening from the inner knee towards that lower abdomen. From the lower abdomen towards the inner knee. Right? It goes both ways, like you're stretching an elastic band. The descending of the inner thighs. And also that outer knee to the outer hip. Without gripping the inner thighs, drawing the outer knee to the outer hip. And there's a compactness of the outer hips as the outer hips move down. As the sit bones move down with those hips.
Now don't just push the front bottom ribs towards the floor. The front bottom ribs move towards the back body. And now can you do that action? The top of the buttocks moves away from the head and take the back bottom ribs slightly in and then towards the chest, creating more space between the top of the buttocks and the bottom ribs. And of course, don't forget to observe. What are the effects of the actions you are taking? And then coming onto your hands and your knees. If you use blocks for downward facing dog, take those or the chair. Take your shoulders over the wrists. I have my hands turned out slightly. Rotate the upper arms out, but ensure that you're pressing down through the ball of the first finger and thumb. Again, those opposite actions. Pushing into the floor, extend through the inner arms. Turn your toes under, straighten your legs. Inhale, lengthen through the arms, still pressing through the inner hand, rotating the upper arms out. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, come into downward facing dog. So the thighs move back, the chest moves towards your thighs, the sit bones move towards the ceiling. Lift your hips up high. Now bend your legs slightly. Again, lift your hips high and back so that there's length in the spine. Also lengthen the armpits. The front bottom ribs, don't just throw those towards the floor. They still have to come into the body. Take the top of the buttocks away from your head. Take the back bottom ribs into the body and towards your chest. So there's more space between the top of the buttocks and the bottom ribs. Now maintain that as you press the thighs back, take the heels down, hips up, and then repeat that. So that top of the buttocks moves away from the head. It kind of goes up and over down towards the heels. And then from those back bottom ribs, move that towards the chest. The skull releases. And then look up, walk your feet forward. Hold your elbows. Have your hips over your heels. Thighs back. Same work of the legs. Lift the outer knees to the outer hips. Lengthen from the inner knees up into the abdomen, into the body. The flesh of the inner thighs moving back. And then you can do the same work of the torso. So that top of the buttocks moves away from the head. It moves up and over and then down towards the heels. And as you lengthen through the side ribs, you can still take those back bottom ribs slightly in, just a little bit, and then extend it towards your chest and create more space between the top of the buttocks and the back bottom ribs. Let your arms go, hands on the floor. Walk your feet back. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana one more time. Straight arms, straight legs. Lengthen through the arms, armpits, and side ribs. Use your thigh bones to pull you back. And again, resist just forcing the front bottom ribs towards the floor. So take the front bottom ribs towards the back body, the top of the buttocks moving away from the head, and the back bottom ribs moving in and up. Create more space between the top of the buttocks and the back bottom ribs. Notice the effects of that. What does that do to you? I can describe what it does to me. What is it for you? Can you begin to practice the art of self-observation, of self-study? Head soft, face soft. Look up, walk your feet forward, use the other foot, walking up first. Hold your elbows the opposite way. Hips over your heels. Thigh bones pressing back. Outer knees to outer hips. Compact the hips together. But even as the hips compact together, that very top of the groins, they move apart. The lengthening of the groins from the knee deep into the body. The flesh of the inner thighs moving back. Maintain that. And then the torso, creating more length between the top of the buttocks, which moves away from the head, and the back bottom ribs, which move in and up towards the chest. And let your arms go. Take your hands on your hips, extend your elbows up, and then straighten your arms with your hands slightly above your hips. Your torso is parallel to the floor. Press your thighs back still. Take the front bottom ribs towards the back body. Don't just pop that forward. And the top of the buttocks moves away from the head. The back bottom ribs move in and up towards the chest. Extend the arms back. The thighs back, the arms back, and the chest is moving forward, but it's moving forward from that bottom rib area, back bottom rib area. Now maintain that. Inhale, come up into Tadasana. Feet together, or if feet hip distance apart is more comfortable for you, that's fine. I'm less concerned about that. Balance evenly on the 2 feet. Press the thigh bones back. Lengthen the lengthen the groins, the inner knees. Lengthen up to the lower abdomen. Flesh of the inner thighs moving back. Draw from the outer knees to outer hips. Compact the hips together. But even as the hips compact together, the top of the groins have to move away from each other. Now maintain that in the legs, and then it's the same work. So we want to take the front bottom ribs towards the back body. So thighs back, ribs back. And then in the back body, the top of the buttocks goes down. Notice how that presses the thighs forward. So you have to keep the thighs pressing back as you take the top of the buttocks down. And then, so here are the bottom ribs. And if you can bring your awareness, and you can take your hands on your back like I am. So feel where they are. You can feel all the ribs. And okay, there are no ribs below here. So that's the bottom one. Just below there. If it doesn't make sense, just do the back bottom ribs, that's fine. But if you can, put your thumb ribs just below that and move that area in and up to lift the chest so that there's more space between the bottom ribs, or that area right underneath the bottom ribs. So when I say bottom ribs now, I'm really talking about that area right below them. But to be clear, the bottom ribs are fine. I want you to take more space, lengthen that. And this area right below the bottom ribs goes in and up. Oh, that throws the ribs forward, right? So can you take that area in and up while keeping the front ribs back? So thighs back, top of the buttocks down. Most of you have heard that one before. But this is new for many of you anyway, that the bottom ribs go back. I'm sorry, the front ribs go back. And those bottom ribs, or right below them, go in and up. And from that area, once that back body comes in, allow that to lift the chest. So you're not lifting from the top, but you're lifting from really the inside. Extend your arms. Any questions so far? Because if you're not understanding that, you may be confused. Welcome, Carolyn. I didn't see you there before. So if anything's not clear, unmute yourself and say, Jonathan, I have no idea what you're talking about. Otherwise, I will assume that even if your body isn't quite doing it, your mind understands what the goal is. All right, maintaining that in the legs, maintaining that in the torso, extend through your arms. Now turn your palms so they face the back.
the back wall, the wall behind you. So you're turning them in so they face the back. Take your hands slightly behind your hips. Don't lean back to do it. So don't take your shoulders back to take your hands behind your hips. The shoulders stay directly above the hips. Just take the arms back. Thighs back, top of the buttocks down still. Front bottom ribs back, back bottom ribs in and up. And now push the arms towards the floor. So the back bottom ribs move in and up, which lifts the chest, and the arms go down. Now turn the palms to face you one more time, so facing each other. Watch those front bottom ribs. They're about to try and come up. Keep them in as best as you're able to, or optimal for you. They'll go forward for everyone. Take your arms forward and take your arms up. Urdhva Hastasana. So now you need to reestablish what did you lose? I did not maintain everything I said to maintain. So my guess is you didn't either. So you need to re-engage those thighs really pressing back and the top of the buttocks down. The front bottom ribs moving back and the back bottom ribs or right below there moving in and up and creating more space between the back bottom ribs and the top of the buttocks. When we do back bends, a lot of people experience pain in that lower back area. That was a hint, by the way. Guess what we're about to do? So I want you to learn to create space in that lower back area between the top of the buttocks and the bottom ribs. You really need to work that strongly, taking the top of the buttocks down or away from the head and the bottom ribs in and up. And lifting the chest from that area can help lengthen the vertebrae in that lower back. Or lengthen the space between the vertebrae is probably a better way to say it, since the bone itself might not lengthen. Turn your hands out to the sides. Exhale, come down. Now it probably helps to loosen up the shoulders because back bends still need shoulder work, even though we're going to more focus on that lengthening of this lower back area. But go grab yourself your strap, your scarf, whatever you have here, so we can begin to open up the shoulders a little bit. These back bends work a lot better if you have mobility there. So we've done this one before. I'm going to go on my knees just so hopefully you can see me a little bit better. But you're still in Tadasana. So arms just straight up for now. And as soon as I take my arms up, I throw my lower back forward. I throw my ribs forward. So I want to train myself not to do that. I want you to train yourself not to do that if you choose. So take the front bottom ribs back while the arms are up. Make more distance between the top of the buttocks and those bottom ribs. So the top of the buttocks goes down, the ribs go in and up. And some of you will notice it's a completely different experience in the lower back and in that kidney band. Open the armpits. Now drop the strap behind you, straight arms. So if you need to take your arms further apart, take them further apart. Forward and down. This is just a good thing to do every day to open up the shoulders, especially those of you that might work at computers all day long, or you just want to be on Facebook all day long. Do this every so often and just open this up. Notice I'm not throwing my torso forward or back. The torso is staying relatively stationary. I can't say it's not moving at all, but I'm seeking shoulders above the hips the whole time, and just the arms in that shoulder socket are moving to lubricate the joint there so it doesn't get stuck and that the emotions don't get stuck there. And then next time you come up, just as it comes behind you, just pause in that place where the armpits feel most open. Just open those armpits. There go my front ribs. They're going forward. So I have to take the front bottom ribs back, the back bottom ribs in and up. Now that feels a little bit more open in the armpits, right? So what you do in the other parts of the body will affect your experience in the armpit area and in the armpit chest. Notice the breath, observe the breath. And let the arms fall behind you. The arms come up in front of you. And release. Put the strap down. Garudasana. So back to Tadasana. Establish the base first. Thighs back, top of the buttocks down. Front, then moving up. Front ribs back ribs in and up. Start into Tadasana. And then you want to maintain this. Garudasana. Right elbow over left, cross the forearms, touch the palms. Upper arms parallel to the floor, forearms perpendicular to the floor. Rotate the wrist so the knife edge points forward. Notice if you lost anything in the legs of the torso and reestablish it. So thighs back, top of the buttocks down. Front ribs back, bottom ribs in and up. Broaden across the top of the back now. And release. Left arm over right, left elbow over right. Cross the forearms and then touch the palms. And I didn't do this the first time. For those that may not be able to cross, you just use a straight arm. You take the other hand across, drop the shoulder and bring it across. And eventually it will open up enough. But it looks like, not everyone has that video on. It looks like many of you, most of you I can see have this. I think all of you I can see have this. So again, legs. Really, we start with the feet. Balance evenly on your feet. Thighs back, top of the buttocks down. Front ribs back, bottom ribs in and up. Make more space between the back, bottom ribs and the top of the buttocks. Believe it or not, that affects what happens in your shoulders. Elbows up. Upper arms parallel to the floor, forearms perpendicular to the floor. Broaden across the top of the back. The shoulder bones move away from each other. And release. One more Urdhva Hastasana. Arms forward, arms up. Just notice the difference. Thighs back, top of the buttocks down. Make more space between the top of the buttocks and the back, bottom ribs. Front bottom ribs back bottom ribs in and up. Open the armpits, chin parallel to the floor. Turn your hands out to the side, exhale, come down. All right, so you're gonna have to work on listening to the instructions here. We're going to be working on some back bends. If you don't understand something, feel free to unmute yourself and ask me. You're gonna lie down on your mat, face down, with your arms forward. So legs back, arms forward. You have to take your pubic bone towards the floor, but really comes from the back body. The sacrum moves towards the floor. The top of the buttocks, we're looking for space between the top of the buttocks and those back bottom ribs. So even here, before we do anything with the arms and legs, can you bring the top of the buttocks away from your head and the back bottom ribs in and up towards the chest? And find that length in the lower back. Now from here, lift your right arm and left leg. I'm not worried about how high it goes, but then extend them away from each other. It's like they're drawing a line that goes right through the sacrum. But as you do that, get that length. The leg moves away, arm moves away from the torso. Keep that distance, that space between the top of the buttocks and the back bottom ribs. Now keep the length and then take the foot and hand down. So your right foot, your right arm should be past your left hand and your left foot should be past your right foot. Now the other side. Pick your left arm up, right leg up, and now you want to extend them to meet the others. So again, we're drawing a line through the sacrum,
The top of the buttocks still moving away from those back ribs. The back ribs moving in and up away from the top of the buttocks towards the chest. And coming down. And then both arms and both legs, but start with that center area of the body. So the sacrum moves down. The top of the buttocks away from your head, the back bottom ribs in and up towards the chest. Maintain that length, increase the length, and then arms and legs up, head still down. And yes, you're extending the arms and the legs away from each other, but can you more focus on the top of the buttocks and the bottom ribs moving away from each other? Keep that length, take your arms and legs down. Now, hopefully you have enough space to the side of you. If not, do what we just did again with the arms forward. Otherwise, take your arms out to the side, like airplane wings. Again, get that center body first. So sacrum down, top of the buttocks, away from the head, back bottom ribs, in and up towards the chest. Lift the arms, lift the legs. Head is still down. Right, so the arms forward gives us length. The arms out to the side gets us width. Both are important. But can you get that length in that lower back area? The top of the buttocks, back, bottom ribs moving away from each other, extend through the legs. And then take the arms down. Now hands by your hips. We'll do the legs first. So hands are by your hips, palms are up. Now I want to be clear because there are a lot of instructions to go through, and they all happen at the same time, which makes it quite difficult. So most of you understand, at least those are here in the live class, you understand what we're talking about with the legs. The lengthening of the groin, the flesh moving on the inner thigh from the front of the leg towards the back of the leg, and compacting the hips together, okay? So all that remains here. And I will try and repeat that, but that needs to get embedded into your body. Because I really want to then add that area of the lower back, which a lot of us struggle with in the back bends. So hands by your hips. So first get that center area, so top of the buttocks away from the head, back bottom ribs in and up towards the chest. Lengthen that lower back area. Now maintain that. Lengthen the groins, flesh of the inner thighs moving up, outer knees to outer hips, compact the hips, lift the legs. Lift just the legs. And notice how for some of us, as soon as we do that, that lower back wants to shrink. So I'm asking you to maintain it. Even while you lengthen the groins, I want you to take the top of the buttocks away from the head, the back bottom ribs in and up towards the chest. And then take the legs down. Take a breath, and then do it again. Keep that length in the lower back, top of the buttocks away from the head, back bottom ribs in and up, lift the legs. Lengthen the groins, release the groins, compact the hips. But now create more distance between the top of the buttocks and the back bottom ribs. And let the legs down. Now the arms. Take the arms, hands slightly above the hips. But first, actually rest the hands. Let's get the lower back first. But when you take the hands up, they will be slightly above the hips. So top of the buttocks down, back bottom ribs in and up. Maintain that. Take the hands just slightly above your hips, and then move your arms back. As you move your arms back, your shoulders will come up. Eventually the head comes up. The chest comes up, the head comes up. And even with your legs on the floor, you can still lengthen through the legs, but take the top of the buttocks away from your head, away from your shoulders. Take the back bottom ribs in and up towards the chest. And then move the arms towards your legs, towards your feet. Now keep the arms moving towards your feet. Keep that length in the lower back as you come down. Take a breath. We'll do that one more time. So, lower back, top of the buttocks, Away from the head, away from the shoulders, back, bottom, ribs, in and up. Create that length there. Maintain that. Don't give that up. With your legs down, lengthen through the legs. That will create benefit. And then take your hands above your hips. Move your arms back. Keep that space in the lower back. Keep the top of the buttocks moving away from your head. Keep it moving away. Take the back, bottom ribs in and up towards the chest. And push through the arms. Maintain that length of the lower back. If your lower back begins to hurt, give it a little bit. Don't come up so much first. And seek more space. Seek more space between the top of the buttocks and the back, bottom ribs. And exhale. Keep the arms going back as you come down. Keep that length in the lower back as you come down. Take a breath. All right, now we're going to do the legs first, and then we'll add the arms. So, top of the buttocks, down, back, bottom ribs, in and up. Lift the legs. Keep that work of that lower torso area. Thighs move up. Lengthen the groins, release the groins. Outer knees to outer hips, compact the hips. Now keeping that length of the lower back, hands above your hips, and begin to take the back bottom ribs move in to lift the chest as you push the arms back. And then extend the legs and arms back at the same time, but keep that length between the top of the buttocks and the back bottom ribs. Maintain that length between the top of the buttocks and the back bottom ribs. Maintain the extension of the legs and arms going back. Exhale, come down. All right, one last one. Now the legs and arms go up together. Length between the top of the buttocks and the back bottom ribs. So top of the buttocks down, back bottom ribs in and up to move the chest forward. Maintain that. Lift the arms, lift the legs. I should say thighs. It's the thighs that come up. And then moving those arms back, peel the torso up. Lengthen the groins, release the groins, compact the hips. Take the back bottom ribs in and up. More space between the top of the buttocks and the back bottom ribs, and move the legs and arms back. Your eyes eventually look forward, but they can gaze at the floor in front of you as well. And then maintain the legs back, the arms back. Exhale, come down. Any problems I need to know about before we move on? How's everybody doing? You don't have to go and answer. Well, I see a thumbs up, okay. Well, at least one person is doing well. So I'll take that. No complaints yet. Okay, good. All right, that was Salabhasana. Now, Dhanurasana. You're going to bend your legs. I can show you first if you want. So you're going to bend your legs from your arms in front of you. You reach back and take hold of your ankles. Now, some of you might not be able to take hold of your ankles. If you can't take hold of your ankles, grab your strap, scarf, and you somehow have to finagle them around your ankles. But you can be here. This is fine. This just extends your arms, okay? So you can take a strap around your ankles if you need. All right, so bend your legs, arms are forward. Now before you take your arms back, can you guess what I want you to do? I want you to take the top of the buttocks away from your head and the back bottom ribs in and up. Space in that lower back area. And then extend, inhale, exhale, take hold of the ankles. Okay, now totally lost what I just created before in my lower back because I would focus on other parts of the body. So now re-engage, top of the buttocks, away from the shoulders, back bottom ribs, in and up. I can already feel it. When I take those back bottom ribs in and up, my shoulders change their location. And it creates more space in the neck. Now we're going to lift the legs. So push the thighs up. From the thighs, push up. And then push the arms back. Legs up. Arms back. But keep the top of the buttocks moving away from the shoulders. Keep the back bottom ribs moving in and up to lift the chest. And then lift the legs, lift the arms. Exhale, come down. Rest your head. Let your legs go. You can fold your hands, rest your head on your hands. Take a breath. We have a couple more of these to do. Any problems, please let me know. All right, arms forward, rest your head. Start with your head resting, bend your legs. Inhale, extend the arms. On your exhalation, make a nice big circle with your arms, grab those ankles. Now, lengthen the lower back. So top of the buttocks away from the shoulders, back, bottom ribs, in and up. Maintain that. From the sacrum, push the pubic bone down to push into the floor. But it's not just from the pubic bone, it's from the back body. Maintain that length between the top of the buttocks and the back bottom ribs. Move your thighs up. Push your thighs up, push your shins back. Pull your shins back from your legs and then push them back from your hands. There still is the lengthening of the inner thighs. The inner groins lengthen underneath to the lower abdomen. That helps. Release the inner thighs, the inner groins from the front of the leg towards the back of the leg. Compact those hips together. But take those back bottom ribs in and up towards the chest as the top of the buttocks moves away from the shoulders. And then exhale, come down. You can rest your hands, or rest your forehead on your hands. And one more. Arms forward, legs back. So start here, lengthen the whole body, and get that lower back area, top of the buttocks away from the head, back bottom ribs in and up. Now see how much of that you can maintain as you bend your legs. Can you maintain that lower back? Now see how much of that you can keep as you sweep your arms back and take your ankles. Can you actually keep some of it? And don't worry if you lose it. That's simply an observation. Readjust, get it back, top of the buttocks away from the ribs, away from your shoulders, back bottom ribs in and up. Maintain that. So keep much of your awareness in that length between the top of the buttocks and the bottom ribs. And then lift your legs, lift your arms, pull your legs back, push your legs back, ribs in and up. Or really that area just underneath the bottom ribs. Move that in and up to lift the chest. Lengthen the groins, extend the groins. Be here. Can you find a peacefulness right here, right now? Even if there's discomfort, even if there's a new sensation. Maintain that space between the top of the buttocks and the lower ribs. Exhale, come down. Straighten your legs. Rest your head. All right, take your hands underneath your shoulders. Come up. If you have a blanket, you can also use a pillow or a couch cushion. I want you to take it, fold it in half like this, so that when you come back, you'll have a block or a blanket underneath you as well. It's nice to have your shoulders on the blanket, head on the floor. And this can be a bath towel too. Get a bath towel, a beach towel, and fold it up so there's just a little bit of height underneath your shoulders with your head on the floor. Now, I have a block here. You can use a blanket too. You know, there are different heights of the block. There's a low height, a medium height, a high height. You need to do what's optimal for you today. So as you lie back, you lift your buttocks up. You can come onto the balls of the toes. And if you're using a high block, you can take a high block. And you can come down. You know, if you haven't gotten in, I want you to watch. If you're in and you know the pose, that's fine. But otherwise, watch. So this is a high block. This is a low block, right? You can also use your pot, that tall pot. Use that. You know, you can use more towels, blankets. You can do this one too, right? That's fine. But here's what I want you to notice, and I'll show it both on the low and high. So these are the blankets. So I'm going to lift up here. Don't puff these ribs forward. So the front ribs come into towards the back body. But what have we been focusing on all morning long? The top of the buttocks moving away from the shoulders or the head, and the back body is moving in and up. Can you do that? Can you create length in that area? And then, in order to create length in the area, when you come down, you have to do it much more slowly and then come down. So keeping that length. So this is the low height. And then from here, I straighten my legs. But keeping that length. Top of the buttocks towards the heels, back bottom ribs in and up without pushing the front bottom ribs up. The front bottom ribs want to go up, but if I do that, I can't get the back bottom ribs. So that's what it would be with these blankets. Let me get those out of the way. And for those that have more flexibility or have the block, and of course you can pile up blankets and pillows too. So high block, and you can do this with a medium too. I come up onto the balls of my toes. Now when I come down, I want to focus on this length here, right? So don't just go down. I'll take my heels down first, if you can get them down. Take the top of the buttocks away and the back bottom ribs in and up. There go my front ribs. So front ribs in, back bottom ribs in and up, top of the buttocks away from my shoulders as I come down. And then I want to maintain that. And then you can straighten your legs if that's accessible to you, that's fine. Otherwise, keep your legs bent. Not a problem. Because what I want you to do is I want you to focus on the top. I'm just keeping my legs bent today. I'm going to focus more. It's more important today than straightening the legs, right? And that's fine. But more important than that today is this idea of the top of the buttocks moving away from the bottom ribs moving away from the top of the buttocks. So now your turn if you haven't gotten into it yet. Top of the buttocks moving away. Make sure as you come down, so get your lift under your buttocks, get your lift. And as you come down, make sure, and if you're in, then if you have your lift, just come up. Take your buttocks away from your lift. Take the top of the buttocks away from your shoulders, the back bottom ribs in and up towards your chest, but don't thrust the front ribs forward to do that. And then take the buttocks, sit bones back down onto your left. I'm less concerned with the arms today. You can have palms up. There's also the version with palms down. Do what's comfortable in your arms. But can you keep the whole time, soften your throat, of course, but keep the top of the buttocks moving away, the back bottom ribs moving in and up, as if the back bottom ribs are lifting your chest. The chest moves towards your chin. Don't confuse that with the chin moving towards your chest. The chin does not move towards your chest. The chest moves towards your chin. But can you do that from the back bottom ribs? So from the back bottom ribs, bring those in and up towards your chest, and have the back bottom ribs move your chest towards your chin. It's more subtle. You're not going to feel as much, but you might just feel different if you pay attention. And be here, observe, breathe. Let the breath breathe you. Those of you that have the legs straight, I see some of you on the video with the legs straight, make sure your thighs are turned in. And really focus on the top of the buttocks moving away from
the shoulders, the back bottom ribs moving in and up towards the chest, or that area right below those back bottom ribs moving in and up towards the chest. One more minute here. Can you be here? Allow the breath to breathe you. What's this experience? Everyone bend your legs. Lift your buttocks up just about an inch, then take it back down onto the block, or lift your buttocks up again, take it back onto the lift. Lift your buttocks up, remove the lift, come down from the top of the spine to the base of your spine, still keeping that distance between the top of the buttocks and the bottom ribs. Take your buttocks towards your heels as you come down onto the floor. Take a few breaths here. And then roll to the right, come on. Of course, bend your legs, roll to the right. Downward facing dog. So come on to your hands and knees, use blocks and chairs as you need. Rotate the upper arms out, press into the inner hand. Take those front bottom ribs here. Even before you go up, take the front bottom ribs in, make more space here. The top of the buttocks away from the shoulders, the back bottom ribs in and up. Then turn your toes under, straighten your legs. Inhale, exhale, maintain all that in the lower back. Maintain that length. And then if you lost anything, go after it again. Straight arms, straight legs, with that top of the buttocks moving away from the shoulders, back bottom ribs in and up without pushing the front ribs down. Let the head go. How is this downward facing dog? How is this Adho Mukha Svanasana different from your last one? Look up, walk your feet forward. Take your hands on your hips, elbows up. Inhale, come up. Keep those thighs pressing back. Come right into Tadasana and get that back again. Top of the buttocks down, back with your thighs back, back bottom ribs in and up. How is this Tadasana different? What's different? What's changed here? Inner groins lengthening and releasing. More distance, more space, more length between, more opening really between the top of the buttocks and the bottom ribs. And release. Take a chair. Have the back of the chair facing the camera. Have a seat then to the side of the chair and have your right side facing the chair. Square your hips Knees, heels. Heels on knees in line with the hips, heels underneath the knees. Now, even here, even in the twist, carry this into the twist. Don't work your hardest. We're winding down, okay? We're winding down. We're going to do a couple of twists, and then we're going to move into Shavasana. But even though we're winding down, can you take the top of the buttocks down, keep your front bottom ribs in, but take your back bottom ribs in and up. And then take your arms forward, arms up. Keep that distance between the top of the buttocks and the bottom ribs. Take your hands out to the side, get the length, the width, excuse me. Extend the arms up for length, arms out to the side for width. Now I notice my torso adjusted, my front ribs went forward. So I'm going to readjust, top of the buttocks down, front ribs back, and back bottom ribs in and up. Well, there, my neck released again. Now maintain that. Inhale, exhale, turn the torso. I'm keeping my head straight. I'm not letting the head turn. I recommend you keep your head straight too without letting the neck turn, but focus on the spine of the torso. So top of the buttocks down, back bottom ribs in and up. So the chest lifts, the spine lengthens, the side ribs lengthen. Inhale, exhale without turning the head, turn. The elbows go up, the shoulders go down. When your body inhales, lengthen. When your body exhales, turn. The pace of your breath, not my speech. When the body inhales, lengthen up, right? Which means the top, in this case, the top of the buttocks going down, the back bottom ribs moving up to lift the chest. When your body exhales, turn. And observe then. Be here with this experience. We're always in a rush for a new experience. Can you observe this experience? Maintain the lift, maintain the width. Exhale, come to center. Turn around on the chair. So again, adjust. Square your hips, knees, shoulders. Top of the buttocks down, front ribs in. Back bottom ribs in and up. More distance between the top of the buttocks and those back bottom ribs. Maintain that as the arms go up, inhaling. Maintain all of that as the arms come out to the side to get the width. I felt my torso adjust. I'm paying attention to the arms, so I'm going to readjust. Top of the buttocks down, front ribs in, back ribs in and up. And then on my exhalation, turn. The body, not the head. Elbows up, shoulders down. Readjust if you need to. More length between the bottom, the top of the buttocks and the bottom ribs. When your body inhales, lengthen up, especially in that area of the spine. On your exhalation, turn. The pace of your breath, not mine. When your body inhales, lengthen. When your body exhales, turn. Distance between the top of the buttocks and the bottom ribs. Maintain the lift, maintain the width. On your exhalation, come to center. One last downward facing dog. I'm going to use the chair because it's here and it's nice. Hands on the chair. You really want to do the floor, that's fine. But I recommend the chair. Front rod and ribs moving towards the back body. More length between the top of the buttocks and those bottom ribs. The bottom ribs moving in and up towards the chest. Top of the buttocks moving away from the shoulders. Front bottom ribs towards the back body. Lengthen the arms, lengthen the legs. And then look up, walk your feet forward. Tadasana. and release. Set yourself up for Shavasana. If you do have, let's all do it. I would say keep your chair. If you don't want it, you don't have to use your chair. But otherwise, take your chair. If it's a cold metal one, I like to put a blanket on it. If you're using a kitchen chair that's already warm, you don't need to do that. Blanket for your head. I use a folded blanket for my neck, but most of us are good with this one. So head on the blanket touches the shoulders, legs on the chair. Nice to get, if you look, I'll take my feet to the outsides of the chair so my knees are a little closer together than my feet. That can help soothe the lower back. So if you can have that in your chair and it's comfortable, do that. With this blanket up so it supports the shoulders and the seventh cervical. Find a comfortable spot for your arms. Be at rest. Now, as you are here, seek a complete letting go, which of course we spoke about this a few weeks ago, really means a complete acceptance of what is. So I don't want you right now to seek to create more length between the lower back and the bottom ribs, but I do want you to notice the experience between the lower back and the bottom ribs. And I want you to then notice the experience of the abdominal area in front of that, and notice the experience of the chest, front and back. As a way to observe, to gain knowledge. We gain knowledge from observing. And can you let all of that area that we just examined, surrender to the Mother Earth below you? Let the Mother Earth take hold. You are no longer in charge, and surrender to the Mother Earth below you. Notice how you are breathing, and that no effort is necessary from you in order to breathe. That the breath will breathe you if you allow it to. We'll be silent now for the next 3 minutes. Can you be here? Observe as the breath breathes you. Lengthen the inhalation. Lengthen the exhalation. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your nose. When you feel ready, extend your right arm past your right ear. Then your legs into your chest, roll to the right. Take a couple of breaths. Let the breath breathe you a couple of times. When you feel ready, place your hand on the floor in front of your heart. Turn your torso towards the floor first, then push to come up chest first, head last. Come to sitting, palms together, thumbs at your chest. Draw your eyes backing down as you gently turn the corners of your lips up. Taking a moment to observe your practice. Take your practice out into the world. Take the courage, confidence that practice gives us, and take that out into the world to do what's necessary to make this a better, safer place for you and a better, safer place for the collective, each and every individual. Especially those that need help most. We are responsible for them. Take your practice with you. Lead and create the change that we all need. Let's chant one collective Om together. Deep inhalation. Let your eyes open. Big smile. Namaste. Bow to the divine within you. Well, thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself. You're welcome, Chaya. Wonderful to see everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Really, really great. I loved that.
Good class.
Oh, good. All right. Anybody have any questions?
Bye-bye,
All right.
everybody.
Well, we'll be sending updates. We're working to get things open. We don't know exactly. We're hoping in the next couple of weeks, but a lot of details need to be worked out still. So know that we are working on it, and we are grateful for each and every one of you for being here, truly.
It is also wonderful
right.
like this.
Oh, good. Good. Well, we'll continue with this as well. This will continue to happen.
Good.
All right. Bye, everyone. Mwah. We'll see you
Bye.
later.